welcome to Thursday Thoughts. This week I'm announcing downwind foil leaderboard. Now, obviously 2025 is just starting, but I've compiled all the results from 2024, created a point score system, scaled it depending on participation at each race, and then taken the best 5 results from each individual to create a 2025 point score system. Now, the point score, let's start with that. I used not a linear system, but a system that rewarded coming first. So the difference between first and second place is almost 30 points. So you get 100 points for coming first. And if you come second, it's close to like 80 points, 79 points, I think it is exactly. The lower down you get, the closer the gap is. So if the difference between 100 and 101st isn't a big gap, but the difference between first and second is a big gap. So that's how I've scaled that. I think it's a good way to do it because we all want to be the winner, and you still get rewarded for being in that sort of top 5, top 10, but realistically, the one who wins gets the most points. I think that's important. Races. How have I scaled the races? Now, obviously, there's been bigger races and smaller races. They're not all even. I've categorized it by participation. So the more numbers, the more points. The 3 biggest races this year, no surprise, Paddle was the biggest, Maori to Molokai the second biggest, and Molokai to Oahu the third biggest. They're what I call platinum races, and our points at those events are multiplied by 4 times for those races. So if you win Paddle you get 400 points. The next stage down is what I call the gold series or gold races. They're above average participation. So the average participation at all races was just under 43. So if there were over 43 competitors, it was a gold standard race. Now there were only 6 total races. 3 of those were the platinum, the Kauakai races, and then there was the Northern Beaches 4 race, which was 47, just above the threshold. The West Coast Downwinder, which I think was also around that same mark, around 50, and then the Crozon Foil Festival, which was 80. So those 3 races all got a gold standard, multiply your points by 3. There was then the silver, which was below average, but over 20. And there were a bunch of those races. And then there was the bronze, which is just your points are times by 1. And that was small races like 20 beaches, Z race, races that I still wanted to include, but weren't necessarily the biggest races. Included in the silver was the Oahu Fall Series. Now I spoke to John Hearn about this, and he ran about 8 races total. And if we would include all 8 races, the scaling would be out a little bit. It'd be basically giving too much weighting on the Hawaiian sort of races. They've already had 3 of the biggest races in the entire world and 3 biggest point scores, in their backyard. So I think to have an extra 8 races wasn't fair. So what we did was we created a leaderboard for the top 30. And those 30 competitors got the extra races, and it was a silver standard because the most competitors at one race was only 30. So there wasn't that massive standout above average participation number for the Oahu Fall races. Now, how many races do we choose that go towards your point score? This is a tricky one because if we took all points, you're going to reward people like Kai Thompson, who went to 14 races, 14 of 20. And that's not exactly showing you who the best downwind faller is, but who the most enthusiastic or who travelled the most to get to the races. Now what I did instead was I took the average of the top 50 competitors and looked at how many races each of them went to, and the average was 5. So what I did was I took 5 results from everyone worldwide, added them up, their 5 best results, to create the 2024 point score. Now, the bit awkward because I was the winner, but only just, and I think there's a few issues with the scoring. I think obviously the Northern Beaches 4 race being just over average, the West Coast Downwinder being just over average, it kind of gave me a few more points than maybe I deserved. I didn't do so well in Hawaii, but I did get to 10 races, so I managed to beat Edo by about 4 points. It was super close. So Edo was second. He only did 4 races. If he'd come to a 5th race, he would have taken it out easily. He dominated in Hawaii. They were the biggest scoring races. Of course, you'd expect him to be right up the top. If he'd done one more race, he would have got it. Third was Kane de Wild, which I think is a good one because he went to 7 or 8 races, so he had a good showing. Went to a bunch of races and did pretty well at all of them. And within the top 10 was Jeffrey Spencer, Finn Spencer, Gage, Schroner, a bit of a who's who of like who's in the downwind falling. So we'll go through that list with a bit more detail on my laptop. So here's the 2024 falling leaderboard. It's on my website, and let's just sort of show you. So point score, 100, 70, 57, 50, and then you can see the difference from previous place. So it's actually a bit bigger gap. First place gets a lot more points. Second place gets 30 less. Third place gets about 13 less. Fourth place gets about 8 less. 5, 4, 3, 2, 2. And then by the time you get to 10th place, the kind of goes down by about 1 point each. So you're really getting rewarded for being in that top 10. Missing out in that top 10 and you're not really banking your keeper score. So that's how the points are done. And then the platinum, gold, silver, bronze. So we have platinum, your points are multiplied by 4, gold multiplied by 3, silver 2, bronze 1. You have a look at the races. Northern Beaches 4 race, gold standard, 20 beaches, 2 participants, bronze standard. Paddler-Miller, 138 participants, platinum standard. M2O, 94 participants, platinum standard. The Crozon race 2 had 80 participants. That's our highest participated gold event. Then you've got the West Coast Downwinder, 46 and 47, Northern Beaches, 47, West Coast Downwinder gold. And we've got a fair few silver races and then a fair few bronze as well. So I think it's a good way to sort of class it. It's increasing the relevance of France and Australia, which I think is important. We don't want it all centralised in one location. I think having it shared amongst the world is a really good thing. And there's no doubt France, Hawaii, Australia are definitely the downwind fall hotspots at the moment. The foil series, 80 participants in the entire series, but only 30 maximum. So that's why it's just classed as silver, not a gold. In terms of the rankings, so we got myself first, Edo second, Kane third, Finn Spencer fourth, Andrew Gibbons fifth, and you can see that Andrew probably should have been higher as well. He only had 4 races participated in, same as Edo. And then Kai Thompson 6th, Clement Colmer 7th, Tom Constant 8th. So to me, what was really important that we represented the entire, like Australia, Hawaii and France. We've got this. We've got Australia, Hawaii in the majority, Australia again with Kai, Clement and Tom in France, and then Gage and Jeffrey sort of back to the sort of Hawaii, US sort of area. We also got a few Tahitians, Malay with the Super Grom status, and then another Aussie and Hugh, also a bit of a Grom, and then Argentinian Guido, who again missed out a bit because he only did 4 races. Nicopule similar, but I think it's a pretty good. This goes all the way down to on this page 50, but there's actually 392 entries, so we can go all the way to the last page, and we've got a bunch of people who've only done 1 race. Ryan Keck's a mate of mine. Ross Henrik's the guy from Cairns. It's just cool that we're all on this one page, and that Ross didn't leave Cairns, but he's on the same page as people that went to a bunch of races. Actually, bear with me, there's going to be a few little bugs, so you can see Ryan Keck is in here twice. So he probably scored higher than he should be higher up than what he is because so what has he got? Ryan's got a 31. So he's been in there twice for some reason, which is strange. But anyway, there's definitely a few bugs I need to figure out, but this is why I'm opening it up to everyone so they can sort of look at it and tell me where I've missed something and how we can, I guess, improve that down the track. But pretty exciting. And as I said, I want to use this as a platform to encourage people to do more races. And I do want to increase. I want to see this number of races participated in get much higher. Interestingly, if we go back to the top guys, we can see, Kai and I were the only ones who participated in 10 races. And then there was a bunch of, 5, 7s, 2, that's not right, it's actually 4, then change that. 5s, 4s. So the average was 5 in the top. I'm hoping we can increase that average to sort of 6 or 7 or 8 even as more races pop up and more races, the community grows more and more. So yeah, that's a bit of a look at the leaderboard, and check it out at my website. I'll put in the link. And I'll just go into that with you. But that's the 2024 leaderboard, and I'm really excited because we're about to kick off 2025, and I want to use the 2024 leaderboard as a bit of a guide for how we run 2025. Now, obviously the scaling isn't going to be perfect because I'm going to use the scaling from 2024 for 2025 races. So, this weekend, for example, here in the Northern Beaches race, there's massive swell and big winds. Not exactly a beginner-friendly race. I'm not sure we'll get, the 47, 50 sort of numbers we had last year. At the moment, there's about 35. And there may be some people pulling out, so I'm not sure if we'll get the same sort of numbers as what we got. But the scaling is there. Hopefully, the race can continue to grow, and if it gets too low off the scale, we'll change it for 2026. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited to announce this. Done a fair bit of hard work on this, so I hope everyone has a bit of fun looking at where they ranked in 2024, and I'm hoping it includes. Involves everyone so they can get to encourage them to get to as many races as possible. This is to encourage brands to send their riders to events. It's for communities to all band together and go do a trip to Western Australia or to Hawaii or to France, and basically grow that community within the downwind foil space. So I hope you get a bit out of it, have a bit of fun with it, and who knows, maybe down the track this will be the standard that we rank each other off and the beginning of professional sport of downwind foiling. But yeah, thanks everyone. That's my Thursday thoughts for this week. Cheers.